The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host, Marcus Gentry.
President, we become weaker, sicker, poorer, more divided, and more violent. When I was vice president, we inherited a recession. I was asked to fix it. I did. We left him a booming economy, and he caused the recession.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared to
do
specifically
do it?
Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
Do you want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
who would you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
FBI director
This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI director said.
I can tell you right now, if they steal the election, all bets are off. How about civil war? Let's go for it. Everybody has had enough. Enough. You want to play this game more? Watch what happens.
So that's really terrifying rhetoric. I mean, he's priming his electorate, or his base, I should say, to just call for full-blown war, civil war, if Donald Trump loses this election.
Donald Trump has basically come all the way out now. The man is facing a lot of charges, which is what we're going to talk about later on in the show, in New York. You see, Donald Trump has to win this election, or he could possibly spend the rest of his life in prison. He's in his 70s. He maybe has 10 to 15 more years left of his life. If he lives healthy enough, he could live to 80 or 90. But if he gets any kind of state charges, and this is not federal, you see, he has control over federal. He has people that can probably pardon him in the federal government. But state, he's done. He knows it. So basically, Donald Trump has become the most dangerous man in this country as of today. He's losing in all the polls. More than likely, he's going to lose this election. And he just primed a bunch of white supremacists up. Set them up. He don't care about them people. He's a white supremacist too, but he's more on the richer side. He look at the other white supremacists who have less money than him as white trailer trash. That's how he looks at them. But he has an army of them. This whole Proud Boys, skinheads, they call them dirty white boys. They got all kinds of names for these people. They are militia, they are white gangs, and they feel like they are the supreme race of people in this country. Y'all got to get that understood. Are you ready? You see, me and my family, we ready. Are you ready? Some of y'all need to pay attention to where your kids at. Make sure they call you. Check in with you. Make sure you watch your surroundings when you step outside your door. When you go into the gas station. When you park your car. You never know where these people might strike. Donald Trump is going to lose this election. They're trying to do everything they can to suppress the votes. But even white people are fed up with him. Let's go a little further into this.
that there is a separate but unequal system of justice for blacks in this country?
Yes, there is. There's systemic injustice in this country, in education and work and in.
That was Joe Biden. Joe Biden, over the last 40-some years he's been in government office, he hasn't been the best people. But right now, we can work with him. Donald Trump, the next 4 years up under Donald Trump is going to be total chaos in this country. There will be no economy with Donald Trump in office for the next 4 years. It won't be no economy. There's going to be army soldiers in the streets. I can see him going so far as to deputize white supremacists. All of these white militias. We're dealing with a dangerous man. And he knows, just by his taxes being revealed, he knows when he gets out that White House, the district attorney in New York has something for him. Him and his kids. They've been embezzling money. They've been stealing. They've been cheating people. See, hatred and racism played a big part in why he ran for president. He allowed his hatred for blacks and Hispanics mess him up. You see, I done been in the streets and I done been off the streets in normal life. When you dealing with the street life, you make yourself seem less as possible. Mentally, that proves he's unfit right there. You've led a life of crime and cheating people all your life and taxes. And we had the first black president and you pushed yourself out there like that. That proves right there you unfit. No mastermind of a criminal organization. And that's basically what the whole Trump organization is. It's a laundromat for all kinds of Russian government, Russian oligarchs, and all that stuff. It's going to come out. And it's going to shock you when it come out. It ain't going to shock me. Let's continue on with it.
This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have been killed. 1 in 500 African Americans. This man is a savior of African Americans. This man cares at all. This man's done virtually nothing.
See, that was one of the most important parts of that debate. One of the most important people that a lot of minorities in this country need to pay attention to. The whole racist thing, we already knew the man was a bigot. But that key point right there, because you still have a lot of knucklehead black folks out here who are falling in line believing all of this coronavirus is some kind of conspiracy theory. Y'all crazy. This virus is killing black and brown people. It's killing white people too. But not on the scale that is killing minorities. You see, this country panicked in January. Shut everything down because they thought whites was being affected by this virus just like blacks was. But when the numbers came out in February, that it's more blacks dying from this than anything. This was right up Donald Trump and his administration's alley. This was like God sent to these people. Now all of a sudden they get on TV telling you, why are we closing the country down for this? The memo went out. Y'all got to get this understood. And for some of my truck drivers out there, I know y'all waiting for me to talk about my newest whiskey. I'm finna get to that in a second. But the memo went out, people. The memo went out to all of these white governors in Republican states that, hey, this is killing more black people and brown people. And you know, most black people and brown people, they congregate in Democratic whole cities. Chicago, New York. They didn't care about it. You know, they willing to sacrifice a few of their white lives. You know, they walk into this gas station, they walk into these grocery stores with no mask on because they don't care. They think that this is not going to affect them. They committing suicide because this virus can still kill you white people. Don't get it messed up. It can still kill you. You have a higher percentage of living with it than we minorities do. But it can still kill you. I'm going to take a brief second to get into this liquor that I found. I drink once a week, people. And I usually go to the liquor store on Friday or Saturday, and I try to find something unusual that I've never tasted before. And this one's called Chambered. Chambord. Chambered. So if you find it, check it out. They only sell it in 2 sizes. I found this size and a size slightly larger. And the reason why they only sell it in these 2 sizes is because this is supposed to be some strong stuff. You know, this is not this ain't something you drink like some Hennessy. This stuff right here is supposed to be strong. They sell it in 2 bottles. This bottle right here and a bottle a little bit bigger than this. So I wanted to try it out and see what it's about. But the guy said it's strong. He said it's got a raspberry flavor to it. And we're gonna test it out. See how it tastes. It smells fruity. We're gonna see what this is like. Ooh, this is actually good. If any of you guys like grape wine, sweet grape wine, that's what this tastes like. But it has a kick to it. It has a real strong kick to it. It has a raspberry flavor to it. This is one of them type of drinks that it'll sneak up on you. It'll sneak up on you. You'll guzzle this whole thing down thinking it ain't nothing because of how sweet it tastes until it gets down. But I can tell this is going to be strong. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 9. I give it a 9, people. It's called Chambered. Chambord. If you go to your liquor store, you might be able to find it. Made in France. It's a strong little shot. It's a strong little shot, people. But let me get back to this Donald Trump character. We've all heard in the news that Donald Trump has gotten sick. You know, it's finally done caught up with him. All of this faking and lying. But what y'all don't realize is I'm about to say something controversial. I don't want him to die from this. And I know a lot of my supporters and a lot of people that watch my show is going to think like, man, what is he talking about? Let me explain. We have to crush Donald Trump at the polls. We have to crush Donald Trump and vote him out. If he dies from coronavirus, that's going to turn him into a martyr. 10, 12 years from now, you're going to have some 15-year-old kid who's 15, 16 right now, who's going to jump up because he remembered the love that him and his uncle had for Donald Trump. and he's going to jump up and get to speaking hatred just like Donald Trump all over the scene and try to run for public office. We got to let these people know that this is not the America that we want. If he dies from coronavirus, you're going to have 1,000 Donald Trumps swearing up and down this man was the greatest thing since sliced bread. We can't let that happen, people. We can't let that happen. We're not going to turn you into no martyr. We're going to vote you out of office. And once we vote you out of office, Donald Trump, the district attorney in New York is going to expose all the underhanded dealings you've been doing for the last 40, 50 years of your life. See, that's how you deal with a guy like him. We don't want you to die from coronavirus. We want you to get better. So you can go on and spend the rest of your life behind bars for all this hatred you done stirred up in this country. Let me continue on with this debate, though. This was interesting.
You, in the course of these 4 years, have never come up with a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare, and just this last Thursday, you signed a largely symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5 days before this debate. So my question, sir, is what is the Trump health care plan?
Right. Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised. Let me
see how he refused to answer that question? The man doesn't have a plan. His only plan is to stop what a black man put in place. He doesn't care about no health care plan. He's not trying to make no health care plan. He doesn't care about that. He just don't want a black man to have a great accomplishment in this country because he feel like a white man should do it. Let you chew on that for a minute. Why would you stop health care for millions of Americans when there's a deadly virus floating around in this country? Why would you do something like that? Let's continue on with this debate.
He has no plan for health care.
Of course we do.
He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a health care plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan.
As you can hear what Vice President Joe Biden said, Donald Trump is a hot air balloon, digging in off of racism. That's what he is. He's a bigot. His only accomplishment is being the white man that came in and stirred up the pot after Obama left. That's it. That's it. His bigotry allowed him to get exposed. Plain and simple. He knew he was a con man, a thief, a tax cheat, a bigot. He knew all of this. All his life, that's what he been. His daddy taught him well. So now what he's done is he's exposed himself by becoming president. I don't even think he thought he was going to win the presidency. I don't believe it. You see, he had this TV station that he wanted to come out with and make money off of that was going to spend the next 4 years talking about Hillary Clinton, trashing her. But when he became president, he had to scrap that whole television deal, which hurt his pockets. Donald Trump is a dangerous man. He is too dangerous to be in the White House, controlling the lives of 200 million people in this country. He's too dangerous. I'm going to continue on with this.
Increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning
No, I think masks
efficacy
are okay.
of
You have
masks?
to understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to. But I
Just
wear
like your
masks
rallies.
when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
Now you see this clown? You see this clown, people? This man just got through disrespecting Joe Biden about wearing masks. And now he's sick.
The White House is providing some contradictory information about the health of the President of the United States. He's at Walter Reed Medical Center right now being treated for COVID-19. Just after midnight on Friday, the president tweeted that he and the First Lady had both tested positive for the coronavirus.
Now see, the chickens have come home to roost, people. They've come home to roost. He's a victim of his own failures. All that lying, that's why I named this show Lies, Bigotry, Tax Cheat, Donald Trump. All rolled into one. All that lying he done over the last 4 years has caught up with him. There are at least 8 Republicans that surrounded him that done came down with coronavirus. Not all of them is going to survive. Some of them might. Most of them might because they white. Like I was telling you, you see what happened to Herman Cain. Herman Cain caught coronavirus and he's in the ground right now, running up behind Donald Trump. Let's continue on.
Knowing perhaps that Hope Hicks had in fact been infected.
So at the moment, what we know is that the president was informed that Hope Hicks had tested positive, and then he still went to the fundraiser.
Irresponsible. That was irresponsible. You knew that this woman had the coronavirus, and you went to a fundraiser anyway. That was irresponsible. You see, Donald Trump is going to get a whole lot of more people killed. He's already opened himself up for lawsuits by lying so much about the coronavirus, and then that tape came out that, you know, he already knew it was deadly. You see, when he put that on words that the coronavirus was deadly, and then he came out lying like that, I'm willing to guarantee you pretty soon lawsuits against the government is going to start popping up. You see, that's why Congress is trying to make laws and pass bills to stop businesses and the government from being sued, because they know it's coming. Over 200,000 people have died from coronavirus, and all he had to do was follow the guidelines of the CDC and tell people to wear masks. He couldn't even do that. He think that was it wasn't cool or something. This guy's crazy. He's a nutcase. Listen to what Biden said about him.
For big rallies he had, and a reporter came up to him to ask him a question. He said, no, stand back. Put on your mask. Put on a mask. Have you been tested? I'm way far away from those other people. That's what he said. I can't. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing in one another.
We've had no negative effect.
No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect, and we've had 35, 40,000 people at these rallies.
Yes.
You heard it from Joe Biden's mouth, people. The man doesn't care about you or anybody else. He didn't want to get sick, but now that he's gotten sick, they trying all kinds of stuff to put in his body. Let him be the guinea pig. I'm down with it. Hey, if you want, I don't want you to die from it. I want you to stand trial. We're not going to turn you to no martyr. We're not going to do that, people. I'm going to get into my first commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about this tax situation. The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
As you well know, there's a new report that in 2016, the year you were elected president, and 2017, your first year as president, that you paid $750 a year in federal income tax each of those years. I know that you pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers. I paid $38 million 1 year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax returns.
Welcome back to the Daily Read, people. I played that segment right there because you see how he just lied and obfuscated right there? Chris Wallace asked him a specific question. Did you pay $750 in taxes? He refused to answer that question, claiming that he paid millions in taxes, which is true. But this is where the lie came in at. All of the Trump organization businesses that he has in other countries, he paid his fair share of taxes in those countries. But when it came to America, he paid $750. You see, I like to talk about the hypocrisy of a lot of these white evangelicals and some black evangelicals too. The reason why I like to talk about the hypocrisy of some of these people is because if Hillary Clinton would have came out and paid $750 in United States taxes, people would have been marching on Washington right now. They would have been marching, trying to oust her out of the presidency. Plain and simple. These people are hypocrites. Donald Trump is a tax cheat. And like I said, he's one of the most dangerous men in this country right now. Because he knows if he leaves the White House, he gets voted out, he's going to have to face charges. They coming for him. Secret Service can't stop him. Matter of fact, Secret Service is going to step out the way. Half of them probably don't even like him no way. That's one thing that troubles me about the Secret Service, and I commend the men and women who serve in the Secret Service. What troubles me is they protect the presidency, not the man or woman in the presidency, by any means necessary. And that's kind of a problem. The reason why that's kind of a problem, and the reason why it's not, I'm gonna play devil advocate. Okay? The reason why it's not is because you want men and women to protect the commander-in-chief at all costs. I understand that. But the reason why it's a bad thing is because you protecting sometimes a person who's committing criminal acts. You placing an individual almost like a king above everybody. And it shouldn't be like that in this country. It shouldn't be like that. Donald Trump should stand trial and have his day in court for whatever misdeeds he's done. He's up here screaming law and order. He wants to be a law and order president, which is a throwback to the 50s. George Wallace. Look up that name. If you don't know who George Wallace is, ask your great uncle with that liquor bottle in his back pocket. He gonna look at you like, man, where you hear that word from? Because it's gonna spook him. George Wallace was a worse version of Donald Trump. George Wallace didn't care nothing about black people at all. And he didn't care about letting it be known. He never won the presidency though. He was too crazy. He was too radical. But he ran. All you got to do is look back on George Wallace. Donald Trump is George Wallace 2.5. He's not a complete George Wallace because he knows in his mind he can't go full blown George Wallace. He can't do it. Not in today's time. But he's there. Let's carry on.
To the blockbuster New York Times investigation, the answers to all of those questions are yes, yes, and yes. And in fact, there are a total of $420 million in debt that Donald Trump has, $300 million of which are loans that will come due during Donald Trump's second term as president if he gets one. So that's one story. Okay. Talked about that yesterday. Secondly, we have this story from July, which I've been on top of for a while, which is that the Trump campaign is accused of laundering money through its campaign, laundering donor money, and doing all sorts of sketchy and potentially illegal things with donor money. That I told you about in July. This is now coming together with the added piece of Trump's former campaign manager, Brad Parscale, threatening to harm himself and allegedly hitting his wife and getting arrested in Florida. And I'll tell you how that relates to it.
Let me explain for some of y'all who don't keep up with this, for my truckers out there and for my minorities out there who don't really keep up with this. Let me explain to you what's happening. Like I said, Donald Trump has been scamming, scheming, and acting crazy all his life. His bigotry made him jump out there and run for president, and he won because he didn't realize the anger and the frustration of so many people who hated Obama because Obama was black. Donald Trump fed off of that, but he exposed himself as being a cheater, a tax cheat, an embezzler, a money launderer. All kinds of stuff is coming out. He owes so much money that right now he is the most dangerous man in the United States. He has to win this election, because if he don't, it's coming. They're going to indict him. It's coming. Y'all got to understand how this works. Donald Trump as president owes so much money that if he becomes president for the next 4 years, the best interest of the United States is not going to be his top priority. Getting out of financial debt for his family is going to be his top priority, which means all another country has to do is promise or pay off Donald Trump's loans. It can be Russia, it could be North Korea, it could be Saudi Arabia, it could be any one of these countries. And Donald Trump will literally lay down for these people. Even if it's a communist country. Y'all got to understand how this works. Follow the money. All you got to do is follow the money. Let's continue on.
Why is Donald Trump's campaign laundering money if they are? Well, it seems weird to do something so risky just for kicks. It is explained by the taxes. If Trump has $300 million in loans coming due soon and $420 million in total debt, and his businesses aren't doing nearly as well as he claims, which was also exposed by the recent New York Times tax bombshell, then the reason he's laundering money could be to free up money that was donated to him for his campaign to pay back some of those debts. I mean,
this is troubling. If y'all can't see the problem this is, something's wrong with you. You could be one of the most uneducated people out here in the world. I just laid it out to you plain and simple. He has none of your best interests at heart. He's trying to save himself from debt. He's trying to save himself from going to prison. And he don't care if he tear this country up and kill a whole lot of people just to do it. That comment he made about Proud Boys stand back and stand by, that comment he made, all Donald Trump got to do if he loses this election and he knows he's facing criminal charges is set it off in this country. All he has to do is get on TV and get a word. And you're going to have white supremacists all out in the streets hurting minorities. And minorities are going to strike back. The police are going to be stuck. Listen to me, people who are police officers, constables, sheriff deputies, FBI agents that's watching this show. Because I know some of you are. Anytime a black man gets on a podcast or some kind of YouTube channel or some kind of platform and starts talking bad about a president, they might not say nothing because we have freedom of speech, but you can believe they watching. There's going to have to be a choice made between you federal agents, you state and local agencies that's out here policing the country. There's going to be a choice have to be made. Some of y'all are already on the side of white supremacy. Not all, because I've always said there are not every white person is a racist. That's not true. So black people who say that, you're a liar. And I will tell you to your face, that's not true. But there's going to be a choice that has to be made. You're either going to side on the side of white supremacy, or you're going to have to drop that badge and defend your community. One of the two is going to happen. Donald Trump has the power right now, if he loses this election, to start a real race war in this country and tear this whole country up. He has the power to do that right now. And it's not going to go like people think it's going to go. It's not going to go like people think it's going to go. It's not going to be no armed military all out in the streets. It's not going to be that. What's going to happen is you're going to have small pockets of white supremacists running around here kidnapping blacks, killing blacks, catching your children, walking down the street with their friends and shooting them. It's going to be all kinds of stuff popping off in this country. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And then you already have racial discrimination within the police departments. So when blacks start to fight back, think about what I'm saying. When blacks start to fight back, all of a sudden, we're rioters. All of a sudden, we're the problem. Because we are going to fight back. It's not going to go like people think it's going to go, where a whole bunch of militia members going to hit the streets and start hurting black people. Once we start fighting back, that's when the decision is going to have to be made on what you police officers and sheriff deputies and FBI agents are going to do. A choice is going to have to be made. This is some dangerous stuff. We're living in dark times, people. And I'm 44 years old. I'm not a young man, I'm not an old man, but I've been around. I've been around long enough to still remember little white kids in elementary school still calling black kids niggers. I hate to use that N-word, but I wanted to use that word to let you know that I'm serious about this. I can still remember that. A lot of y'all youngsters out here that follow my show, y'all don't remember that. That's why some of y'all heads is in the clouds and y'all thinking that this stuff is being overblown. It's not. The last time that a young white kid called me that, me and him got into a fight in elementary school and the teacher paddled both of us. And then as time went on, whites stopped doing it. It kind of slowed down, disappeared a little bit. But it was still right there under the surface. It was still right there. A lot of y'all youngsters out here from the age 30 on down, y'all didn't grow up in that era to where y'all can't remember that stuff. I remember it. We're not going back to that. I'm finna get into this next commercial break. The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Damn, fool. The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Let me just tell you something, Joe. No, if you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again.
We're going to get to the economy in the next segment, sir.
Now, I've already talked about the lies, this coronavirus, the bigotry, the embezzlement, the tax cheating. Now we're finna expose another lie that a lot of these Trump supporters, who are really slick racists, keep trying to push this lying agenda about how Trump was good for the economy. That's why they voted for him. When they're really lying. They voted for him because they hated Obama and they liked racism and bigotry. They feel like the only person that's supposed to run this country is white people. You see, Donald Trump did not, and I'm going to repeat that, did not have a booming economy. A booming economies were left to him, but he messed it up. I'm finna show you the numbers. You see, I don't deal with feelings like some of these people do. I think, or I feel like he's gonna be this and that, even though he's a bigot. I feel like he's gonna be good for businesses and jobs. You're garbage. You're lying. I'm finna prove it to you. You see, I pulled up the charts. I got the numbers. The numbers don't lie, people. Let's get into it.
So let's start with this whole idea of a V-shaped recovery, which we've heard a lot about in the past. And we heard a little bit about it last night in the midst of all of the yelling and screaming that you've all been talking about now. So sad to watch all that happen. But you can see on this chart the enormous drop that the economy suffered in the second quarter. 22 million jobs lost through April thanks to the pandemic. But you don't see a V. You don't see it coming back up the other side. What you see is 2.7 million jobs, 4.8, and so forth. But the pace of the recovery has been slowing. In August, it was 1.4 million jobs. This Friday, we'll get another number. It will probably be under a million. And all in all, we've only recovered about half of the jobs we've lost. And the same is true of the overall economy. Only about half of the loss of the size of the GDP will be recovered this year. So that's the story on the so-called V-shaped recovery.
I just exposed a great lie that Donald Trump has been pushing since he's been in office. Not just Donald Trump, but some of his supporters too. Donald Trump has not led the best economy, and the economy is done. Y'all got to get that understood. The economy is over with. You might still have people out here going back to work and making themselves feel like everything's fine. This virus is still killing people, and then you have a threat of racial tension in this country. So as long as those two things are not addressed, there is no economy. Y'all can hang it up. It's still millions of people out of work right now. They just laid off thousands of people from the airport. They finna add on to the jobs report. But I'm finna get deep into it. Let's look at the charts.
Now let's talk about his claim that even before the virus, he had the best economy ever. So this chart goes all the way back to the days of Eisenhower and shows the GDP growth under each of those presidents. And you can see that, in fact, Donald Trump's economy was far from the best ever. In fact, it was only the 8th out of the 11 last economies. And that's not even counting the virus. That is before the virus. And many of these other presidents had recessions, they had challenges, and so forth. If you add in the effects of the virus, what you would find is that Donald Trump's economy was, in fact, the worst of all 11 of these past presidents.
Like I said, people, I just gave you the chart. Rewind the tape, go back, study it, look it up. The numbers ain't gonna lie. People would lie because they want to keep believing in this clown show because they have an agenda. Donald Trump is not good for the economy at all. Some people are going to keep lying to you and saying, well, what about the economy? See, this whole whataboutism, they throw that up at you to try to kill your discussion about the wrongs that this man is doing. I'm not done. I got some more charts I'm finna show you. Donald Trump has the worst economy in the last 11 presidents. But I'm finna continue on.
He mentioned manufacturing last night, and he has talked a lot about manufacturing during his time in office. And it is true that when he first came in, and passed those tax cuts, and you heard about those tax cuts last night, of which 85% of the benefit went to wealthy people and to business, it did help manufacturing in the short run. But then he got into a tariff war, and the tariff war actually drove down our growth in manufacturing jobs. In fact, again, even before the pandemic, you can see that by the end of the fourth quarter of 2019, we were in fact adding no manufacturing jobs whatsoever. And since the virus hit, we've in fact started to lose manufacturing jobs, a total of 734,000 so far this year.
730,000 lost manufacturing jobs this year under Donald Trump. All of this is lies and obfuscation. If you don't know what that word obfuscation is, look it up. You got Google on your phone. Everybody has a computer in your pocket. Look it up. The man is full of lies and deceit. And at first, I thought that a mass population of the electorate or the electoral people, the people that vote, at first I thought they was being duped. And it was, some of them, it was at first. But the arrogance of some of these people not to admit that they was wrong about Donald Trump, so they keep pushing this lie about he's better for the economy than Obama and he's better for the economy than any other person that could have did it, it's a lie. It's a lie. These people are living in la la land. They're living in la la land. They have no understanding of what's going on around them. But let's continue on.
And then to the last question, Mika, on the question of who would help the economy more. This chart that we're going to put up now is from Moody's. It is a nonpartisan, impartial service. And what it says is basically that Biden, in fact, would help the economy more. Biden, with a split Congress between Democrats and Republicans, would be 3.5% GDP growth. Trump, with a split conference, would only be 3.2%. A Democratic sweep would actually lead to 4.2% growth in the economy versus only 3.1% under the Republicans. And this is because if the Democrats get in office, as you heard the vice president say last night, he has a package of plans. He has robust plans to address all of our problems, unlike the president, who you heard last night really didn't articulate anything of a second-term agenda. So here you have an independent economist, Moody's, saying, in fact, contrary to perhaps some people's guesses, that a Biden presidency would be better for the economy than a second term of Donald Trump, Mika.
There you have it, people. You see, the numbers don't lie. Like I said, people will lie, but the numbers ain't gonna lie. I don't deal with emotions and feelings when it comes down to this. This was an independent contractor that looked at this stuff. Donald Trump has no plan except to keep his ass out of jail. That's it. He don't want to get sued. He don't want to have criminal charges brought up against him. And he knows as long as he's the president, won't no district attorney in this country touch him. That's the only reason he's trying to become state president. That's it. He has no plan for health care. He has no plan to do nothing about this virus. He has no plan about the economy. Nothing. He's basically useless. Now, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. After all of that, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And this is for the Trump family. You might watch my show, you might not. You might have heard of me, you might not. But somebody who's close to the Trump family, heed this warning. Once they find out that you're done, they're going to cut you loose. You and your whole family. And if you try to start some kind of war in this country between the races because you feel like the hell with it, if I can't be president, I'm going to tear the country up, because that's what he has the power to do. The Republicans are going to turn on you. Not because they're good people, but because your usefulness is gone. That's why you got this clown, one of his ex-campaign managers down in Florida tried to kill himself because he knows it's coming. They got charges that he's embezzled money from the Trump campaign. They know it's coming. They all know it's coming. If he loses this election, it's a wrap. It's over with. No matter how many white supremacists march in the streets claiming that the election was rigged, the Republicans are going to dump you and throw you to the wolves. And I want all of Americans, white or black or Hispanic or any nationality, to listen to me very carefully. Trump has the Republicans as a trump card. He also has white supremacists as a trump card. This is a warning to everybody to watch out for this. Once Trump sees that the Republicans are going to dump him, he's going to try to play the white supremacist card. And this whole country is going to go up in smoke. See, the Republicans know this. That's why they're trying everything to keep him in the office. Not just because they think he's some kind of good dude, but because they don't want this whole country to go up in smoke. They don't want this neither. Not the Republicans that's in office. They don't want this to happen. It's going to be doom and gloom. This is the Daily Read, and I hope y'all learned something from the day, man. I'm out.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.